Is your business struggling to stand out from the crowd online? At Webamax, we specialize in turning clicks into customers. From SEO and PPC to social media management and stunning web design, we've got you covered. Boost your online presence and drive real results. Ready to take your business to the next level? Visit Webamax.com. That's WEBIMAX.com for a free digital analysis. Rule the web with Webamax.com.
Hello, it's the monthly mailbag exclusively for Country Club tier subscribers at the Islanders Anxiety Patreon page. Thank you so much for your support, for your dough, and for your great questions, even here in the summertime. Mike, it's been all about cricket for you these last couple of days. We're actually going to be recording a episode of Country Club Atmosphere a little bit later this week, all about your adventures at the T20 cricket tournament in beautiful Eisenhower Park. But are you ready to flip that Dusty Islanders switch once again and get into some questions about our favorite team here?
Yes, I am, and I'm excited because this is our first mailbag episode since the Rangers got eliminated.
Right.
So we don't have any questions about what would you do if what happened and such, and we
Doomsday questions, yeah.
the fun questions right off the bat. So,
Yeah.
and like I said, I've been at the cricket. I'm excited to talk about that and those adventures. But yeah, that's for a couple of days from now. For now, we'll dig into these, and as always, the questions are going to be a lot of fun to answer.
Yeah, definitely. And we're going to start out with a trivia question in a way. It's kind of a little rare for us, but I thought this was, we try and start with like current events, and nothing was more current than the Stanley Cup final, which is going on right now. The Panthers are up 2-0 over the Edmonton Oilers. And David kicks us off with a question about one particular Panther that we're all interested in. He asks, if Kyle Oposo wins the Cup this year, will he be the only piece from the Isles circa 2010 rebuild who has ever done so? I looked, but I got lazy and I thought I'd just ask you to. Well, never come to us for trivia questions because we're too lazy to look too. But right off the top of my head, there are two guys that I could think of. Maybe you can remember more. Your memory is much better than mine. But Mark Streit did win a cup with the Penguins just before he retired. Whether or not you think of him as part of that rebuild, I kind of do, but so that's one. And then I believe we determined on Weird Islanders that Christopher Gibson won a cup with the Lightning too, didn't he?
Yeah. So I would call those guys. Streit, I think you can definitely make a case belongs in that.
Sure.
But if you're looking at it as those crews of like the young Islander draft picks, that came up together, there was the core part one with Oposo, Nielsen, Bailey, Martin, Cizikas, Tavares, etc., and then it kind of a Hamonic, and then it molded into the core part two, the ones that we are still watching to this day with Lee, Nelson, Mayfield, Pollock, etc. And so, yeah, the answer is yes. He is the only one, and I'm pretty sure of that group, he's the only one to make a Stanley Cup final as well.
Yeah, because I don't think Mark Streit actually played. I think he was like a spare part for that Penguins team, basically.
Yeah, exactly. And because I was thinking, putting Streit aside and putting Christopher Gibson aside, I was like, okay, could you say Michael Grabner? But when he was on the Rangers, they weren't. Those weren't the years that they went to the Cup, so not him either. If you want to consider him as part of that group, but no. And I pulled up a website, and this isn't like this is just a list of, I think, of like the roster of the night that they won, maybe. And the only former Islander from 2023, so last year, that going back to Mark Streit in 2017 that I can see. Once again, this isn't including like Christopher Gibson or anybody like who would just be a guy who was like a black ace, was Devon Taves, right? Like, so
right.
there's been very, very little Islander connections in these Stanley Cup finals for quite a while now. And Taves is the only one. Then Mark Streit I see on this list. If you the opposite of then if you flip it the other way and say like some former Islanders who won a cup and then came to the Islanders, like there's a bunch of them, Boychuk, Seidenbergs,
right,
Char, etc. But the other way around, played for the Islanders. I mean, even Brandon Coburn fits that description. But if you go the other way, it's very few. And this is a great question for like Jeff Marek to be like, hey, are the Islanders the least represented? The like this era of the Islanders, the least represented people in the team in the Stanley Cup Finals, because it's really, really hard to find any former Islanders on this list. So
yeah. And I mean, when David says circa 2010 rebuild, I think he means sort of like Tavares era. And like, I don't really consider Taves. I mean, you're right about Taves. Obviously, came here and he played here first and then went to win a cup. But I don't, Devon Taves really didn't play with John Tavares.
Right.
So, I really wouldn't consider him that. He's sort of outside that era. But you're definitely right that we are an underrepresented fan base in these cup finals, which is very incredible.
It makes the Oposo thing funny. I wonder if he's getting texts from all his guys. Like,
I'm sure. Yeah.
What's it like?
Yeah, and to Kyle's credit, like he still keeps talking about, hey, when we were at the Islanders, we thought this. Like, so he definitely has not forgotten his Islanders past, which is beautiful. And I think he knows that he's probably seen a lot of like people, Islanders fans like us, like David here, rooting for him to win the cup. So we hope it happens. We hope that the Panthers can continue this. I'm not going to lie, seeing Oposo on the ice with Connor McDavid in Game 2 did freak me out a little bit. Kyle's quite a bit slower than he used to be, but Panthers won going away, and I see no reason why they can't take this thing home. So thank you, David, for that great opening question. And again, good luck, Kyle and the Panthers. Hopefully you guys can close this thing out. Next one is our buddy Sab with another great thing that came up on yesterday's Game 2. After watching Charles Barkley drop an F-bomb on Hockey Night in Canada.
Dan, you said the Oilers were your pick from the outset. What do you think of them so far?
Well, they played great in Game 1, but they didn't win. But Bobsky was sorry.
That's okay.
I'm sorry. He was freaking amazing. I apologize, y'all kids at home. He was freaking amazing. But, the Oilers, man, they've been amazing. I picked them from the start of the playoffs. But, Florida, the Panthers are amazing.
I was curious, who is the best celebrity, in your opinion, to attend Isles games? Well, the question begins and ends with Hillary Duff, right? I mean, we did a whole episode of Weird Islanders about her and her now ex-husband, Mike Comrie. There have been a few, right? We've got Christy Brinkley, obviously. We've had Ralph Macchio, the number one. We've had Leo DiCaprio. We've had Kevin Connolly, of course. We've had SVU star Peter Scanavino, Vincent Piazza, Boardwalk Empire. We've had Ja Rule. We've had
Carson Daly,
and Shakira, who was really very much an international. Remember that? Oh my God. Yeah. We had Vanderpump Rules star Jax Taylor in the Barclays Center era that kind of blew my mind and my friend Michael Wilhoff's mind as well. Hannibal Buress was there at a game once.
Yeah. My two favorites though were cameos, and that's why they stick out in my mind. One, the legendary appearance by Colin Powell.
Right. Yeah, Charles Wong's friend,
Yes. Drop the puck. I think that was the Bill Guerin, Ruslan Fedotenko, John Sim version of the Islanders. But my all-time favorite was the Game 6, I believe, against the Washington Capitals in 2015. The last game at the Coliseum. Who was there to send her off in style but Hideki Matsui.
Wow, that's right. I remember that. Yeah,
and that was a beautiful thing. So those are my two favorites in terms of like the cameos outside of the mainstays like Macchio, etc.
Right.
So
we've had a lot of other sports teams guys come in. Obviously, we had the Jets that one year with the guy who crushed the beer can on his head. I can't remember. I remember Rex Ryan. Basically did the tour. Like there were pictures of him in a Rangers jersey, Islanders jersey, Devils jersey. Like, hey Rex, you want a jersey? Come on, yeah, sure, man. Like, so that he was at a bunch of those games. Obviously, we've seen who else? There's a bunch of Jets. We saw a bunch of the New York PWHL players here recently. There was somebody else I was just thinking of too that I forgot now. That was at a game. Oh, I was at a game when Mick Foley was there. Daniel Bryan, who was Daniel Bryan then, is now Bryan Danielson. Another wrestling superstar was there because we hit the yes comes from him. So we've had a lot of wrestling representation there as well. I don't know. Best? That's subjective. Maybe it's Leo DiCaprio. Maybe it's Shakira. Maybe it's Carson Daly. I don't know. Maybe it's Jax Taylor. Who knows? But there's a lot, Sab. We can go through this. Have not seen Charles Barkley at an Islanders game, but we need to rectify that immediately because Charles does love hockey, does love dropping F-bombs, and might have had a little too much that bit, but he loves the game and he was having a good time. So who might argue with the great Sir Charles Barkley? But thank you, Seb. Great question. I'm sure we missed people, so trust me, if there's somebody we didn't mention, put them in the comments because there's a lot. We always joke about how the Islanders don't deserve these people, but they're there. I mean, we've got Billy Joel, although I don't know if he's been at a game. He was at the UBS Arena announcement with then Governor Cuomo and a bunch of guys who don't play for this team anymore. But anyway, there you go. So yeah, keep us up to date on the celebrities that are coming by. Okay, Maximilian asks an actual pertinent question that isn't about celebrities or Kyle Oposo, the Stanley Cup final. He asks, what are your biggest concerns for the Islanders heading into the offseason and next season? This is obviously a hugely open-ended question. I mean, this is what we do all the time. Is there, I'll throw it right to you. Like, is there one thing that kind of makes you most worried about this season and next season? I mean, I guess this could be a lot of different things. Like, you could say, well, I don't know if they score enough or their defense is good enough, or it can be like, I'm afraid they're going to sign the wrong free agent and kill their cap space or something like that. Like, there's a lot of things going on, but like, what's kind of your biggest concern that's not the Rangers or Leafs winning the Stanley Cup?
Yeah, for me, the biggest concern is that they don't change their look enough. Mm-hmm. There is a lot of talk about, sorry to bring the Leafs up even, but every hockey podcast and radio show, whatever, when they do their prerequisite, 20 minutes an hour on the Leafs, they talk about Mitch Marner and whether or not he's coming back, and if the team coming back with those 4 guys and 5 if you want to include Morgan Riley, if it's even okay, despite you might change like 10 other players on the team, but if those 5 guys come back, have the Leafs changed, right? Mm-hmm. And I think you can also say something similar about the Islanders, which is if this team comes back looking and having that same identity, and the players are still, you know what I mean, right? Everyone listening to this knows what I mean. If you the guys that I'm talking about, so if there's no change there, I'd be a little. That's what I'm concerned about, I guess, is that they come back with this team without refreshing it at all. So until it happens, that's going to be my main concern.
Yeah. I mean that's all that all makes a lot of sense, and I guess that's a good way of putting it, because they could change some players and make things different, but I'll say one thing. I'll go a step further than what you're saying. If they have the same identity, I think this team needs to find a new one. Like it straight up needs to find a new identity. Like the Trotzian, buzzsaw defensively, stout Islanders don't exist anymore. They haven't for quite some time. And so this team needs to find out what it is. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that they need to become an offensive juggernaut. They're certainly not going to do that over the course of one offseason. But they need to find something and make it work and make sure that it does work. Now, we can't forget that Patrick Waugh is now in charge, and he's going to have a whole summer and a training camp to kind of get this team to play the way he wants. So hopefully that version of this team is successful. But I don't know if I have a concern right now. I think I'll probably wonder about that once sort of free agency comes and goes and we see who's left and who's, what the rosters kind of look like. My concern is that maybe they're not going to evolve at the same time as some of the other teams in the division. And we're actually going to talk about the rest of the Metro in the next question. But I think that there's a core of a good team here. We've talked about this. Like the core of this team is pretty good. They just need to find an identity and find a way to win consistently. And I think that's probably, my biggest thing. And I'm sure somebody out there is like, well, they're about to give a goalie $8 million a year after he had not great season. Yeah, that's a concern too. Or, hey, we got 2, players that are coming up on free agency soon at the end of the next season, Brock Nelson and Kyle Palmieri. What are they going to do? Hey, we got a captain making $7 million a year for 2 more seasons that's not scoring as much as he used to, and Anders Lee. So I don't know. There's the core of a good team here. It's how they augment that core that I think is probably my biggest concern. But like you said, finding that new identity is going to be huge. But Maximilian, this is a great question, and certainly something we're going to keep thinking about long into this summer until October when the season starts. So thanks. Okay. We mentioned the rest of the Metro, and Jim from Hoboken has this question here. Rank the Metro teams in order of how satisfied their fan bases are with their team's performance this season. Is it somehow possible that Washington finishes first? I don't think it's somehow possible. I think it is possible.
Yeah, so too. I do.
Yeah,
which is it's funny because the Rangers made it to the Final
Right.
Four, and you look at and we're still seeing it. Like,
right.
you know, we certainly had a lot of fun last week dancing on their graves, and when I've been at the cricket, I met this Australian guy, and the first, you know, he was asking like lay of the land, and saw my Islanders hat, and I'll go deeper into the story later on, but that was last Monday, so the Rangers losing was still pretty fresh. And I was telling him about the podcast and how we just did a whole episode devoted to the Rangers being eliminated, and he loved it. He loved it so much. And what's been nice is that, as fun as it was right after it happened, you know, like, okay, in a couple of days that goes away, and we have to find something else to do with our time. But these fans and this is where the For You page is both a blessing and a curse, because I'm still getting these tweets from people I don't follow, I've never heard of on Rangers Twitter, and they are still complaining about the loss, and that they had to play the Florida Panthers of all teams. Like, oh God, there was a great tweet making the rounds about, like, I can't believe the Rangers, they had to play the one team that was better than them all season, the Panthers. Like, how could that? What terrible luck we had. Like, no, that's just how the playoffs work, man. Right. Like, you don't get to play the Washington Capitals and the Carolina Hurricanes when they, and the Penguins when they have Louis Domingue in goal. Every time you usually have to play good teams. It's just not, you usually catch all those breaks. So they seemed, I would say the Rangers would still be 2 after the Capitals. Followed by, I guess, the Hurricanes, although like the way that ended sucks. Then I don't know. It's pretty much it. Like, I would put the Blue Jackets and Devils at the bottom, the Flyers and Islanders above them. Or I guess Blue Jackets, Devils, and Penguins below the Islanders and Flyers. If you want to break it up like that.
Yeah, well, it's funny because I was thinking about this question. And I was like, who wasn't disappointed, right? And like, I'm looking at the Caps, and I think that's probably about it. Like, the Rangers are disappointed because they, thought they had a cup team and lost in the conference finals. The Carolina Hurricanes thought they had a cup team. Their fan base thought they had a cup team, and they lost in the second round because they did the same thing they do every year, where they make the Islanders look like fools and then have to play a real team, and then they get fooled themselves. Our story, the Islanders story, is very well told at this point. It was a roller coaster. Yeah, they made the playoffs, which I guess was the mandate, but I think you'd be hard pressed to find somebody who was satisfied with how they went out again. The Penguins, I'm sure, well, the Penguins fans always think their team is a cup champion in weight, and of course they didn't even make the playoffs. The Flyers were in third place for almost the entire season until the last month, when the wheels just came off, and it was, again, drama in Philly as always. And then the Devils and Blue Jackets just never kind of got on track at all. And I mean, the Devils, they made the second round last year, and this year they fell apart. They waited until the trade deadline to get a goalie, and it was Jake Allen, who's 72 years old. And so, it didn't really, that season did not go. Everybody was hurt. It was a total disaster. Shit, the Blue Jackets season started with them firing Mike Babcock before he even coached a game for them. So, I mean, talk about disasters. So, like, really, the Caps are the only Metro team that can say, yeah, I thought it was okay. And they got swept in the first round, but they didn't think they were going to make it, and they did. And I mean, I can't imagine, they're probably all like, yeah, that sucked to get swept, but hey, I guess they made the playoffs, so you can't really, you can't feel too bad about it, but you can't be too excited about it either. You're talking about Rangers fans still being mad. I saw one, and I had saved it because it was so funny to me, and the tweet goes like this: I wonder how the final is going to be officiated. Will the Panthers be allowed to headhunt the way they were in the first 3 games of the Rangers series? Will the officials attempt to protect Caitlin Clark? I mean, Connor McDavid? Oh, wait, sorry, that wasn't a Rangers fan. That was Larry Brooks. All right, never mind. Sorry. Anyway, moving on.
they just keep coming. They really do. Like,
worst.
I was thinking today, like, we won't do it unless something crazy happens, but there is enough material out there to go into another episode.
Oh, easily. Yeah.
And it's incredible. So
yeah, right.
But we can't get too carried away here.
No, of course not. Well, we got to save all that for the summertime, but we might. But But Jim, thank you very much. This is a great question, and I never thought about it that way. But I don't know. Maybe if there's if you're a Caps fan out there, pat yourself on the back because you're the one person in the Metro Division that doesn't absolutely hate this season. So there you go. Speaking of the Capitals, Mike Napoli asks another very pertinent question because this just came down the other day. The Caps are buying Capfriendly and shutting it down, according to a few reports. That sucks, and it makes me hate them even more. Yeah, I love that site. Me too. Are there any NHL teams you guys dislike because of off-ice stuff, excluding perhaps annoying fan bases? Scandals, etc. I mean, I think it's safe to say that we hate the Leafs mainly for off-ice stuff. Like, if they've not signed a certain player, I think we probably wouldn't hate them nearly to the degree that we do. But let's put them aside for now, I guess. I mean, is there anything, other teams that you hate that somehow have really not crossed paths with the Islanders on the ice at all, and yet you hate them? I guess. I mean, you could throw some fan bases in there as well, but I don't know. We don't really. Every fan base is annoying.
It's like a different level, right? Like I feel like my hate tank is full. With the Rangers, Leafs, and Penguins.
Right.
And the Hurricanes now finding their way in, and like there's other reasons to hate franchises and like the way they're run, like the Blackhawks stuff obviously jumps right front to mind, but putting that stuff aside, not really. The Hurricanes have really climbed my hatred. They will never ever catch the other three. I mean, maybe, who knows? I shouldn't say never, but they'll never get into that like next tier, I don't think. But part of it is the off ice, like the way that they are. They carry themselves online, and they're annoying, cringy, yet somehow universally beloved tone on social media and beyond. And it's like they have the Hurricanes are run by the what would you say is the worst late night talk show of all time? Is it the James? I haven't watched one in
James Corden is definitely up there. I don't really watch late night TV.
All right, so let's just use him. Yeah, I haven't watched it in ever, but I feel like the Hurricanes are run like the writers' room for that show for like a James Corden talk show, because it's just the jokes that you're like, yeah, that I can see why. Yeah. Like a 62-year-old on Facebook would think this is funny, but it's pretty tired territory at this point. So I guess the Hurricanes come to mind, but no, I don't hate any other teams really. Actually,
yeah, I get annoyed by teams. I get annoyed by any team that has. I mean, very similar to what you were just saying. I get annoyed with any team that has like sort of a self-referential or like meta commentary Twitter account. Like, that just drives me nuts. Like like when the Kings and Blue Jackets started doing that, I was like, dude, I don't want this. Like, I really don't want this. You don't need this. It's a little bit much. And the Devils do that now too. And so, but like, it's more irritating than hatred. I can't really say I hate too many teams aside from the ones that you mentioned. It's funny too. We've talked about this before. Like, to a certain generation of Islanders fans, the Flyers engender a lot of hatred. Maybe even the Bruins do. I don't really particularly hate either of those teams. No. And I mean, the Islanders have played the Bruins in the playoffs a couple of times, and I never came away. I mean, I didn't like them when the Islanders played them, but I didn't really come away with like a big hatred. Maybe the Canucks kind of creeped up there because the way they kind of, conducted themselves after the Horvat trade was really kind of got on my nerves. Like, really, this is the way you're going to treat this guy? This is not like a Tavares situation. Like, this dude wanted to stay and your team paid some other guy, which is their right. And then he got traded, and now Philip Roenick may walk away. So they might end up with like literally nothing for the Horvat trade, So it's kind of funny to me, but that's the only thing. I am kind of rooting against the Oilers because I do like when they fail. But I wouldn't call it hate.
Yeah, and I'm trying to decide if I hate the Sabres or like you, I like watching them fail because of the way that they are.
They're
everyone's pet team. Right. They are the off-season champions, the off-season dark horse every year since they drafted Jack Eichel in 2015, who won a Stanley Cup famously for not the Sabres. So I think. they really piss me off in a lot of ways too. So
right, but it's more of an irritation than like a stress.
Yeah.
Because there's a huge difference, like you said, between like the Leafs, Rangers, and Penguins, and like kind of get annoyed that somebody's
Right.
going to pick the Sabres to make the playoffs and not the Islanders, and of course the opposite ends up happening. So
Yeah.
The funny thing about the Sabres is like the other offseason champion is always the Ottawa Senators, and the team that's ready to make the next jump is always the Red Wings and the Canadiens. So like I think, and we're going to get to this again in a little bit, I think, but like the focus on those three teams, mainly because they play the Leafs all the time, is a little bit much. And I mean, it's like you can't pick all 6 teams in the Atlantic Division to make the playoffs, guys. Sorry, it doesn't really work that way. There are other teams in the league, but yeah, that's a great one, Mike. And yeah, I don't know, it's hard. I mean, like you said, I think your hate tank being full is an apt way to put it. Like it's going to take something really special to break into. Even the Hurricanes can't even really break into there, although they're knocking on the door. They're the closest ones, but really that unholy trio is going to be hard to top. So we'll see. You know, things change. Maybe we'll ask this question again next year. We'll see what happens. Okay, Will asked a question about maybe a new team we'll hate. You never know. So the Utah team appears to be going generic or Utah Hockey Club for next season, while they're still figuring out their nickname. Looks like they've whittled down their name to 6 options here. It's Yeti, Blizzard, Outlaws, again, Utah Hockey Club, Mammoth, or Venom. Which would you pick? And then Will says he personally likes Outlaws or Mammoth, but he's not a fan of Blizzard or Venom. Do you have a personal favorite of these 6 here? One of which being no name at all, really?
Yeah, I agree with Will. I like Outlaws the best, and you know, I found myself agreeing with Kevin Kurz.
Oh, what?
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago, he said something about how he's like sick of the I can't even remember how he said it, but like the names, like the Kraken kind of name or whatever, that style, which was funny because in my head I was like, okay, yeah, Kraken, that's right. And then I was trying to name the other ones that fit that description that he was going for, and I think the Kraken were like the only team that I could come up with. But I just prefer I would prefer the Outlaws. I think Outlaws, then Mammoth would be my 2 favorite. I'm not particularly preferential. I'm not going to lose my mind over it no matter what. I will say, like you said, you maybe will hate this team. I feel like I will, because I hate the way that people talk about this owner.
Yes,
already.
Me too. 100%.
I really want this guy to fail miserably, which is I know not the way. That's not how we grow the game, but I'm sick of hearing that
Me
this
too.
guy is this guy is a businessman, Jeff. You know, I don't know if you've ever been in negotiations, but I've been in. I don't want to be in a negotiation with Ryan Smith. He's always got the hammer. Like I just don't want to. I've had enough of this guy already. I want him out of the league.
He loves hockey, and Gary Bettman loves him, and he wants to be. Okay, great. Yeah, find me another owner who hates hockey. Like which owner hates? Oh yeah, I spent $1 billion on an NHL team. I'm not really into this sport though. Come on. Yeah, I know. No, I'm with you. I do hate the way they talk about him, and it's only a matter of time before. Well, this is like Tom Dundon got this too. Like, he wants to be the Jerry Jones of the NHL. Why? Why would you want to be this universally reviled, shriveled crypt keeper of a man who everybody hates? Like, I don't understand. But I'll be honest. I don't like any of these names. I really don't. I find them all kind of stupid, and like they're both generic and incredibly stupid. Although I did notice though on this list, 3 of them are related to bands. So you've got Venom, which was a very important thrash metal band. You have the Outlaws, who were a southern rock band famous for the interminably long Green Grass and High Tides. If you've ever played Rock Band 2, you know what I'm talking about. And Mammoth, which was the original name for Van Halen, before David Lee Roth said, this name is kind of lame. You guys have an awesome last name. We should just use that. And Eddie and Alex were like, well, I guess. Okay. And the rest is history. So that's a true story. The other ones, definitely don't do Utah Hockey Club. That's the lamest thing ever. Oh, we want to do Utah Hockey Club until we figure out a nickname. No, you pick a nickname. Just pick one. I don't understand why. Again, this gets back to like the sort of I don't know, the kid glovification of this whole franchise.
They want to get it right.
Yeah, they want to. Okay,
what?
You want to get it right. So the Utah Jazz. What does that even mean?
This is exactly. Right. This is the exact way to get it wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
The exact way to get it wrong is by doing this, by drawing it out like this, and it's
getting everybody to hate you.
Yeah.
You know, the Yeti and Blizzards to me are a little too close to the Avalanche. Like that's
Oh,
what
that's a
kind of
good point. I
bothers
never
me.
thought
You
about
know,
that.
like
Yeah, I never thought about that.
Venom. I don't know. Listen, nobody likes. I mean, I'm the comic book guy in this thing, and I would not name my team the Venom. Apparently, Utah has a lot of bees, and like a minor league team,
Yeah.
baseball team called the Bees. That would have been kind
So,
of cool. Name
yeah.
something different.
I think
But
the name of I feel like their newspaper is like the Daily Hive or something. Or
yeah,
maybe I'm wrong.
that would have been cool. So
Oh
I
no,
guess.
that's Sacramento. The Sacramento Bee.
Oh yeah. So I guess by default, Outlaws is cool, but again, like you've got, I don't know if that just seems a little too kind of like, I don't know, minor leaguey or whatever. But to be honest, if I had to pick something, I would have just left them the Coyotes. But of course, because of this fakakta weird setup that they got with the owner of the Coyotes, they can't be the Coyotes. But I mean, I'm sure Utah has Coyotes. It would have been fine. And then you could have said, listen, all right, we're going to move them. You just pick a different team and it would have been fine. But alas, we'll see. I guarantee that whatever they pick will be very underwhelming, and it'll be a story on Twitter all summer long. We'll have to see. So, but thank you, Will. It's a good question, and yeah, we'll see. I mean, we all kind of like Outlaws, or at least went with Outlaws, one way or the other. But we'll see if that's it. And I mean, I could kind of see like a puck with a hat and a bandana around his mouth, something like that. So the marketing opportunities for Outlaws is pretty cool too. And I don't know, maybe I'll end up, if it's a cool logo, maybe I'll end up picking up a shirt or something. Thanks for listening. If you want to hear the full monthly mailbag, sign up at patreon.com/IslandersAnxiety for our country club tier. That'll let you listen to all of the past mailbag episodes, as well as ask a question for our next mailbag episode, which happened all summer long. So thanks for listening. Take care. Bye-bye.